Kyle Coleman made a phenomenal checklist of what to do before you even make a cold call. Now, this is important because Abraham Lincoln said if you gave him an hour to cut down a tree, the first 45 minutes he would spend would be sharpening the axe. The lesson from that is basically the more you prepare, the more effective you're going to be when you're doing the task. So let's look at this checklist and break it down. Before you even make a dial, the first thing you have to do is know who you're going to call, right? So make sure your lead list is organized. One of the best ways to even go about calling in general is to block your time so that you know for the next 30 minutes, for the next hour, all I'm doing is calling. And part of that time blocking could include you saying, I'm going to call this population. I'm going to call this lead list. But when you step into a cold calling block, there should be no question as to who you're calling. The simplest thing to do might be just to go to your sales engagement tasks, right? Outreach, SalesLoft, whatever you're using, and just go, okay, I'm just going to dial down the list. A smarter way to do that, though, is to chunk out who within your tasks need what calls. For example, if you have some MQLs to call and you have some cold outbound prospects for this other campaign to call, actually mixing those two in the same block doesn't make sense because you're going to be switching prospect to prospect, wondering, like, wait, are they with this campaign? Are they an MQL? I have to switch my talk tracks. I have to switch the objection handling in my head. It's better to do one track mind, just call one set of leads at a time. That's it. One set at a time. That way you're not having to context switch back and forth. So you might even go on your calendar blocks and label call block X population, call block X population. That way you're going in these call blocks super dialed in on exactly who you're calling. Next thing is knowing what you're going to say. Right now, this sounds so basic, but if you just fling yourself into a call block and start ripping dials, and you didn't take the time to even say the words of the talk track and start to say out loud the objection handling, then you're coming in totally dry. It's better actually if you take 5 minutes before you make your first call and you go through out loud your script, right? Go through the talk track top to bottom, hit all the objections. That way, when you're starting to talk on the phones, your brain is like greased up. It's ready to navigate. Oh, if they say this, I know I'm going to say that. And your mouth just said the words a few minutes ago. So it's not going to be cold and awkward coming out. It's like a warmed up engine. The better thing to do is even grab a teammate who has a similar call block. They're calling the same population. Spend 10 minutes together going back and forth mocking each scenario. That way it's all fresh in your head. Again, the brain is greased up, ready to go. And that's going to help you fly on these calls. The third item here is knowing your goals. It's very important you have specific numbers tied to your activities. Everything you do in the SDR world is KPI driven. So in this case, you should have your call blocks prepared for your entire week, and they should be the same call blocks every day and every week so that you can experiment with the best times to call. For example, if you have 12 p.m. call blocks every day and you notice your connect rate is down during 12 p.m., you should probably move it, right? But if nothing is consistent on your calendar, you're not going to know, wait, are these changes I'm making, are they actually making a difference or not? So you have to have like a controlled environment, think science, right? You have that control group of the same data so that when you A and B test stuff, it's very consistent. So have the duration of your call block mapped out, start, finish. Mentally, that also gives you kind of a finish line of like, all right, I'm going to eat my veggies and I'll be done at this time. Let's go. That's way better than trying to pop in calls throughout the day. Never works that way. Second thing you need to know is the number of calls you're planning on making. So you'll get into the SDR math as you develop as an SDR. You'll know how many calls it takes you to get into X conversations, to book X amount of meetings, to book X amount of qualified meetings, right? So base your math and your number of calls around that once you're there. But to start, find the highest performers on the team and set your number of call volume to what theirs is, plus 5 or 10, straight up. Now, if you have like really great people on your team that are crushing quota because they're making 20 calls a day and they've gotten so good at the process, okay, disregard that because as a new hire, especially, you need volume. You just need to go run miles and miles and miles before you figure out how do I run the fastest mile I can. So outside of that, go find the top performers on the team, figure out how many dials they're doing, and do 5 or 10 more every day. what you can do as well on your time blocks is you can actually say, uh, 1 hour time block, X population, and then 30 calls, 50 calls. So you have that tangible goal for you. Then his third thing here is number of positive outcomes. So you can do an or statement. You can say, I'm going to make 50 calls during this next hour and a half block, or I'm going to get 5 conversations and 1 meeting booked. And that way you have 2 goals, and either way you're going to be productive and move the needle forward. But number of positive outcomes could be, I'm going to book 1 meeting, I'm going to get into 3 conversations. Those are kind of the positive outcomes we want. I'm going to book 2 follow-up calls. And so having those goals in your head so that you're gamifying your call blocks and you're giving it a very clear benchmark of pass fail, it makes it fun. It makes it rewarding, and it gives it a finish line again to encourage you to keep going. You have to plan your call blocks because it's like eating vegetables. And if you don't Tupperware your vegetables the day before, it's going to be way harder to go into the freezer, pull that bag out, throw it in the microwave, and then eat your vegetables. But if you can be someone who's so prepared and disciplined, where you know, hey, I've already got my pre-portioned Tupperware in the fridge full of my peas or green beans. All I need to do is open it and eat it. Same thing for cold calls. Don't make it harder on yourself to do cold calls just because you're unprepared. So block the times out, make sure you commit to them. And if you do all of this preparation work beforehand, it's going to be very easy to go make the calls and be successful. It's like if I had to wake up at 5 a.m. to hit the gym, but the night before I didn't do anything to prepare. So I wake up at 5 and now I'm like groggy, I'm tired. Now I've got to go into my closet. I've got to go think about, okay, what do I need to wear for this workout? What workout am I even doing? Okay, so I waste 10 minutes right there. Then I go out to the kitchen. I've got to like, am I taking pre-workout today? Okay, now I've got to scoop it and all the things. And you've wasted 30 minutes just getting ready for the workout. And it's way harder to do that at 5 a.m. than it is the day before. So if you start the day before and you've got your clothes laid out, you already got your workout prepared, you know what you're going to be doing, and your pre-workout is right by your bedside ready to go, you don't lose any time at all. And it's the same with cold calls. So that's why being prepared with these 3 items is super important. Now, when it comes to mindset and cold calling, it's super important to be disciplined about do not disturb. The easiest place to get distracted is when you're making cold calls, because what naturally happens is you'll be on the phone, you'll get a piece of info about a prospect, you'll go to Salesforce, you'll update that, you'll see something else pop in, you'll jump over to that, you get a Slack from a teammate asking about the game last night, then you got your family knocking on the door saying, hey, I need your... Before you know it, you made 1 call, and it literally took you 30 minutes before you got to your next call. So you have to be disciplined about this. Look, no one is going to care about your success more than you. So if you're unwilling to dial in and set firm boundaries around this is where I need to dial in and this is what's going to help me be successful, no one else is going to care and do it for you. Your manager is just going to get pissed off and probably put you on a performance plan, and you won't have a job in the next few weeks. So complete focus. Get off Slack, put your phone away. Heck, I've seen people put their phones outside of the room for accountability. Whatever you need to do to get locked in, do it. The second thing he's saying is visualize the outcomes, right? There really is something real about visualizing success before you do it. When I played football growing up, my coaches would always teach me, hey, Jack, before game day, I want you to picture yourself, play the film in your mind of you making a really big tackle or you making a key play that game. And whenever I did that, I was way more in tune with the activities or the mindsets or the disciplines needed to go actually do that on game day. And it's the same here. So one of the biggest encouraging things you can do for yourself is before you go into a day of calling, go listen to a call where you booked a meeting the day before, the week before, whatever. Hearing you be successful tells yourself, wait, I can go do that again. I've done it before. No imposter syndrome. I'm going to do it again. And imposter syndrome is so real in the SDR role because your success is determined daily. So every day you're trying to prove to yourself that you're worthy and that you're valuable to this company. Because if you don't book a meeting that day, worth goes down right away. And that's not how we want to live life, right? But to help yourself with that natural human tendency is to go look at where you were successful. And if you're new and you don't have any wins yet, go listen to other people's calls where they book meetings so you can feel what it feels like and feel what it sounds like to visualize yourself there. Fully agree with the last one. Make yourself smile. It's so easy to go from meeting into call block and you're just like already tired. You're already pissed off because you haven't booked a meeting. You already think you suck and you're just like down. Your mood matters. I totally agree with what Kyle's saying here. I've had teams where I've played music before we go into call blocks, like lose yourself Eminem type stuff. Like, let's get hyped up. I also know that people do like to watch motivational videos. I tried that a few times with my team where we would watch, David Goggins or someone crazy like that, that was talking about what it takes to succeed. And do you want to be average? And that kind of stuff, those mindset hacks, they work. And so before you dive into your call block 15 minutes to go through all of this. Block 20 minutes to go through all of this because, like Abe Lincoln said, you take those 45 minutes to sharpen the axe. That last 15 minutes of work is easy and you're primed for it. So print this checklist out, put it by your desk, and every morning before you go into your call blocks, make sure you've got those checked off and you're going to crush it and book meetings and get promoted and get out of this SDR school and move on to something way better and bigger. So let's go.